Welcome to the History Stories podcast.
Great to be diving into another one.
Today, we're embarking on what we call a historic road trip. You've asked us to look into one of history's really baffling disappearances, the case of Flight 19.
Yes, Flight 19. It's a classic mystery, isn't it?
It really is. We'll be digging deep into the history books and uncovered sources we have here to figure out what actually happened on that afternoon, December 5th, 1945.
Yeah, forget the quick headlines. We want to unpack the details, really try and make sense of it.
Exactly. Our mission today, for you listening, is to explore the known facts. We're talking 5 Navy torpedo bombers, 14 crew vanished.
And then, tragically, a search plane lost, too, with another 13 personnel.
It's staggering. We'll look at the initial reports, all the theories that popped up over the years, and what the evidence we've got really points to.
We're drawing on eyewitness accounts, official Navy reports, research for analyses. People who've spent years on this. It starts routine, but quickly spirals.
Confusion, desperate radio calls, and an ending that's still, well, uncertain.
Let's set the scene then. December 5th, 1945, Naval Air Station, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
The war's just ended. A sense of relief, maybe. But these guys are prepping for a training flight. 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers.
And the mission name, Navigation Problem Number 1.
Almost sounds like a joke now, right? It was apparently considered hard to fail.
Yeah, famous last words. The planned route was pretty standard on paper, a triangle.
Okay, walk us through it.
They go east over the Atlantic, about 56 miles, then some bombing practice at Hen and Chicken Shoals.
Hen and chickens, okay.
Then another 67 miles east, turn north for 73 miles over Grand Bahama, and then swing back southwest, 120 miles home.
So roughly 316 miles total.
Exactly. Expected flight time, maybe 2.5 hours. Should have been straightforward.
And the crew, 14 men total, naval aviators, Marines.
Led by Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor. He was experienced a combat vet, 2,500 flight hours, 600 in these Avengers.
So he knew the plane. His students, though, were actually quite senior in rank themselves. Marine Captains Powers and Stivers, Second Lieutenant Gerber, Navy Ensign Bossy.
Most of them had around 300 hours, not novices, but still learning the ropes on this specific navigation exercise. Usually these Avengers had 3 crew members.
And here's a detail that always gets me. None of the planes had clocks installed.
Right. The Navy just assumed the men had their own watches.
Which, for dead reckoning navigation that relies heavily on time, seems like a potential issue waiting to happen if watches weren't synced or working.
Precisely. A small detail, but maybe significant.
So takeoff was a bit late.
Yeah, around 2:00 p.m., weather was called favorable to average, though there were whispers of a storm maybe moving in later.
Okay, so they get airborne. First leg.
Went fine. They reached Hen and Chicken Shoals, dropped practice bombs around 3:00 p.m. A fishing boat captain even saw them heading east after that. All normal.
But it didn't stay normal for long.
Not at all. Somewhere after that northward turn, things started to unravel. Around, say, 3:40 p.m., maybe 4:00 p.m.
What happened?
The radio crackles. One pilot asks for a compass reading from another. The reply is chilling. I don't know where we are. We must have got lost after that last turn.
Wow. Just like that. Lost.
Seems so. Then Taylor himself gets on the radio, calling Lieutenant Robert Cox, another instructor flying nearby but not part of the flight.
And Taylor sounded
Anxious, apparently. He says, both of my compasses are out, and I am trying to find Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
both compasses. Okay, that's bad.
Very bad. And he adds, I am over land, but it is broken. I'm sure I am in the Keys, but I don't know how far down.
The Keys? But wait, based on the flight plan, they should have been nowhere near the Florida Keys.
Exactly. They should have been over the Bahamas, way out east. Being over the Keys would put them hundreds of miles off course to the southwest.
That's a massive misjudgment. How could that happen?
That's the million-dollar question. This belief, this conviction he was over the Keys became the absolute core of the unfolding chaos. Disorientation, maybe, instrument failure combined with misinterpretation.
It's hard to fathom. And the ground stations.
They tried to help, but communication was awful. Lots of static interference from Cuban radio stations. It was messy.
So Taylor's stuck, thinking he's west of Florida, over the Gulf, maybe.
That seems to be what he concluded. And because of that, he made a really critical and ultimately fatal decision.
Which was?
Instead of flying west towards the setting sun, which was standard procedure if you were lost over the Atlantic, he ordered the flight northeast and then later east.
Deeper into the Atlantic, away from land.
Deeper into the Atlantic, completely against the book.
Didn't any of the other pilots question this?
It seems it did. There's garbled radio traffic, hard to decipher fully, but one voice was reportedly heard pleading something like, "Damn it, if we would just fly west, we would get home. Head west, damn it."
So there was dissent in the air.
Appears so. But Taylor was the flight leader. He maintained command. He also apparently wouldn't switch to the emergency frequency, 4 to 805 kilocycles, which was clearer.
Why not?
We don't know. Or maybe he ignored requests to turn on their YGF transmitters. Those could have given ground control a solid radar fix on them.
That's baffling. They had technology that could have helped potentially and didn't use it.
It's one of the most frustrating parts of the mystery. Around 5:50 p.m., ground stations did manage to get a rough fix using high-frequency direction finding.
And where did they place them?
Far off the coast of central Florida, north of the Bahamas. Pretty much where they should have been if they'd flown the route correctly initially, but now hopelessly lost.
But Taylor never got that message.
No. The information never reached Flight 19.
And all this time, the situation is getting worse.
Definitely. Dusk is falling. The weather that was supposed to be average is deteriorating, squalls moving in, and critically, fuel is running low.
You can just feel the desperation building.
The final transmissions, they're hard to read. Between roughly 6:20 p.m. and 7:07 p.m.
What did they say?
Taylor's voice again. All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together.
They planned to ditch together.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
Then just silence. Nothing more was heard from Flight 19.
Just gone. 5 planes, 14 men.
Vanished. And the search began immediately. A massive air and sea operation spun up.
But the tragedy wasn't over yet, was it?
No. In a cruel twist, one of the rescue aircraft was also lost. 2 PBM Mariner flying boats were sent out.
Okay.
One of them, Bureau number 59225, call sign Trainer 49, took off at 7:27 p.m. 13 men aboard.
13 more souls.
They radioed a routine check-in at 7:30 p.m., normal comms. But by 7:50 p.m., it had vanished from radar screens too.
Just disappeared, like Flight 19.
Not quite. There was an eyewitness account for this one. The crew of a nearby tanker, the SS Gaines Mills.
What did they see?
Around 7:50 p.m., near the Mariner's last known position, they saw a burst of flame high in the air, followed by fire on the water.
An explosion.
Almost certainly, an oil slick was found later. The USS Solomons, a carrier involved in the search, also lost radar contact at the same time.
So the Mariners likely exploded in midair.
That's the strong consensus. These PBM Mariners, unfortunately, had a bit of a reputation. They were sometimes called flying gas tanks. Fuel vapor leaks in the fuselage were a known hazard. A stray spark, and disaster.
So a different fate from Flight 19, but just as tragic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In just a few hours, 6 aircraft gone, 27 men lost.
Mm-hmm.
And for Flight 19, no trace, no flare seen, no wreckage found, no life rafts, no bodies. Ever.
It's just incredible. And this all happens right after World War II.
Yeah, the timing is significant. People were used to loss, sadly, but maybe not expecting something like this in peacetime training. Aviation was advancing, but still risky.
And navigation back then. No GPS, obviously.
Right. You had magnetic compasses, gyroscopic compasses, dead reckoning, estimating your position based on course, speed, and time, and radio direction finding. All imperfect, all susceptible to error or malfunction.
And the area itself, the quote-unquote Bermuda Triangle, that reputation was already simmering, wasn't it?
It wasn't a household name yet, but sailors had whispered about strange things in that part of the Atlantic for centuries. Columbus even noted weird compass behavior there. Flight 19 really became the event that would launch the modern legend.
The cornerstone myth.
Pretty much.
Mm.
The search that followed was huge for the time. Peacetime search, covering maybe 200,000, even 300,000 square miles of ocean.
And found nothing of Flight 19.
Absolutely nothing, which just deepened the mystery. How could 5 large aircraft vanish so completely?
What were the initial theories from the Navy?
Well, Commander Howard Roberts, the base commander, initially suggested maybe unexpected high winds or a storm blew them way off course. Weather was definitely a factor considered early on. Public reaction was, shock, bewilderment.
Understandable. And the official Navy Board of Inquiry.
They convened quickly and produced a massive 500-page report. Their initial conclusion primarily blamed Lieutenant Taylor.
Pilot error.
Essentially, yes. Yeah. They cited his disorientation, his decision to head east instead of west, leading the flight further out to sea. For the Mariner, they concluded it was likely an in-flight explosion, consistent with the eyewitness report and the plane's known issues.
But Taylor's family didn't accept that.
No, his mother, Catherine Taylor, fought it vigorously. She argued, quite powerfully, How can you blame my son without any wreckage, any physical proof of what actually happened?
A fair point.
The Navy eventually listened, or at least conceded the lack of concrete evidence. They amended the verdict.
From pilot error to...
To cause unknown.
And that just opened the door, didn't it?
Wide open. That official ambiguity, cause unknown, created a vacuum that speculation rushed in to fill. It allowed the mystery to grow and paved the way for decades of theories, from the plausible to well, the paranormal.
So let's get into those theories. The most logical, the front runner, still seems to be pilot error, specifically spatial disorientation, right?
That's generally considered the most probable cause by most serious investigators. Taylor's confusion about his location, his reported compass issues, whether real or perceived, are central.
Was it the equipment failing, or was his mind playing tricks on him?
That's the crux of it. And then you find these unsettling details in some accounts about Taylor's past. Reports suggest he might have gotten lost before, even ditched planes during the war.
Really?
Yeah, and claims he might not have had a watch that day, or maybe lacked a plotting board needed for navigation. And that rumor he asked to be replaced for this specific flight.
It paints a picture of someone potentially not at his best, or maybe just unlucky.
Could be. And spatial disorientation itself. It's a documented, dangerous phenomenon in aviation.
Explain that a bit more.
Your brain gets conflicting signals from your eyes, your inner ear, vestibular system, and your body's sense of position, especially in poor visibility. Over water with no horizon, maybe in turbulence, your senses can lie to you.
So you might feel like you're turning when you're flying straight, or banking when you're level.
Exactly. Pilots can fixate on the wrong sensory input and actively distrust their instruments, even if the instruments are correct. These vestibular illusions can be overwhelmingly convincing.
And you mentioned it might have been contagious.
In a sense. If the leader is disoriented and making erratic commands, the stress and confusion could potentially induce disorientation or doubt in the other pilots following him, especially less experienced ones. It becomes a cascade failure.
Okay, so disorientation is a strong contender. What about straight-up mechanical failure?
It's possible. The idea that both the magnetic and gyro compasses failed simultaneously on Taylor's plane, it seems unlikely, but not impossible. Maybe some external factor affected all the plane's compasses. That's where some theories diverge.
Right, but contrasting that with the Mariner...
The Mariner's loss seems much clearer. Almost certainly a fuel leak and explosion. Given their flying gas tank reputation and the eyewitness account of a fireball, it's the most mundane, sadly logical explanation.
A tragic but separate event, likely.
Very likely. And we can't discount the weather's role in the Avengers' fate either.
How bad did it get?
Reports indicate conditions deteriorated significantly later in the day. Squalls, severe turbulence, high winds, very low visibility. Even if they weren't disoriented initially, the weather would have made navigation incredibly difficult, and surviving a ditching in those seas, highly improbable.
So disorientation compounded by terrible weather seems like a very plausible scenario.
It covers many of the known facts. But the lack of wreckage keeps the door open for other ideas.
Which leads us to the Bermuda Triangle theories.
Yep. This is where things get more speculative. Magnetic anomalies, for instance. Could some strange magnetic field have thrown off their compasses?
Is there evidence for that in the area?
There are variations in the Earth's magnetic field, sure, but nothing proven to be capable of making multiple aircraft compasses fail simultaneously and lead to such catastrophic navigational error. Then you get into things like vile vortices or strange energy fields.
Less scientific there.
Much less pure speculation, really part of the triangle lore.
And then aliens.
Yes. Extraterrestrial intervention. Alien abduction became a popular theory, especially after the movie depictions. The lack of wreckage fuels the idea they were simply plucked from the sky. Some reports mention strange radio messages, but those are widely considered hoaxes or misinterpretations.
UFOs are often linked to triangle stories.
It's a common trope.
Yeah.
And the theories don't stop there. You hear about residual technology from Atlantis, sea monsters, time warps, dimensional shifts.
Okay, we're getting pretty far out now.
We are. Methane hydrates erupting from the seabed is another one sometimes mentioned. Huge gas bubbles could theoretically sink ships or affect aircraft density. But again, no direct evidence linking this to Flight 19. Is trying to find any explanation for the disappearance.
So, amidst all this speculation, you have people trying to bring it back to Earth.
Exactly, like Larry Kushin in the 1970s. He did a meticulous investigation, going back to the primary sources, the Navy reports, the weather data, the radio logs.
What would he conclude?
He argued compellingly that the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, including Flight 19, was largely manufactured through exaggeration, omission of key facts, and sometimes outright fabrication in popular accounts.
So he basically debunked a lot of the hype.
He did. His conclusion for Flight 19 was essentially pilot disorientation, compounded by the bad weather, fuel exhaustion, and communication problems. A tragic accident, not a paranormal event.
But the legend persisted.
Oh, absolutely. Flight 19 became the absolute bedrock of the Bermuda Triangle myth.
How did that happen? Who really built the legend?
Vincent Gaddis was key. He wrote an article in Argosy magazine in 1964, kind of outlining this area of strange disappearances, and he coined the term Bermuda Triangle. Flight 19 was his star exhibit.
Okay, so he named it.
But it was Charles Berlitz's book in 1974, The Bermuda Triangle, that became a massive bestseller and truly cemented the legend in the public consciousness.
What did Berlitz focus on?
He played up the mystery, embellished details about Flight 19, and heavily pushed supernatural explanations, Atlantis, UFOs, weird energies. Kusha later showed Berlitz's book was full of inaccuracies, but it was sensational and captured imaginations worldwide.
And then Hollywood got involved.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind in 1977. That opening scene, finding the Flight 19 Avengers perfectly preserved in the Sonoran Desert, their crews missing.
Implied they were taken by aliens and returned years later.
Exactly. It became the visual image associated with Flight 19 for millions, reinforcing the extraterrestrial angle, even though it's fiction. Use real Avenger aircraft, too.
And documentaries.
Countless shows about mysteries, the unexplained, History Channel specials, Flight 19 and the Triangle are evergreen topics. They keep revisiting it.
Why do you think it still resonates so strongly?
It's that blend, isn't it? Verifiable facts, the planes, the men, the date, the radio calls mixed with genuine human drama, the terror of being lost, and then the complete unknown, the total lack of closure. It taps into our fear of the vast, indifferent ocean and the limits of our knowledge.
And people are still looking for them.
Yes, modern sonar technology, remotely operated vehicles, expeditions still go out. There's Project Mariner, specifically trying to locate the wreckage of the PBM search plane. There have been false alarms wreckage found that turned out to be other aircraft.
Even the hope persists.
The need for answers, for closure for the families, it's still there. And places like the Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale Museum keep the memory alive with exhibits. Online forums buzz with discussion. It's an active, living legend.
When you dig into the details, the little things, it gets even more compelling. Those radio
Them
transfers.
gets fragmented. They paint such a vivid picture of the confusion. Taylor saying, both my compasses are out. The other pilot saying, I don't know where we are. That desperate plea to head west. You feel the situation deteriorating.
And the human cost. We mentioned the 27 names, but individual stories stand out.
Like Corporal Alan Cosner, the guy who was supposed to fly but asked to be excused from Gerber's plane. He couldn't explain why later, just had a feeling, luck, premonition. Chilling either way.
Or Taylor himself reportedly asking for a replacement before the flight adds another layer of what if.
And the dynamic of having Marine captains as students under a Navy lieutenant. Did rank play any subtle role in who questioned orders or how forcefully? We can only speculate.
And the planes themselves. The Avengers' sturdy workhorses, but those missing clocks.
Critical for dead reckoning. A potential flaw in the system that day.
And the Mariner, the PBM-5, its role as a search plane, but with that known dangerous flaw regarding fuel leaks.
Yeah, the flying gas tank nickname wasn't affectionate. It points strongly towards the explosion theory for its loss.
What else stands out from the official Navy report?
Besides the initial blame on Taylor and the later change, it documents his flight hours, his experience including flying out of the Keys, ironically, which makes his disorientation more puzzling. It details the search efforts, interviews with people like Eltine Cox who spoke to Taylor. It confirms the basic facts, but leaves that core mystery intact.
And the eyewitnesses, like the Gaines Mills crew seeing the Mariners explode or the fishing boat seeing the Avengers early on, they provide anchors in reality, but don't solve the main puzzle.
Right. And researchers have tried to reconstruct the flight path based on the garbled transmissions and the one rough radio fix. Most models show them heading further and further east, tragically confirming Taylor likely stuck to his incorrect eastward heading.
It just reinforces the disorientation theory.
It does. Though, you even get fringe theories like someone surviving and showing up years later, AWOL. Highly unlikely. But it shows how people grasp for any alternative to just vanishing. The ambiguity was there from day one.
So After this historic road trip, looking back at everything, where do we land?
It's tough, isn't it? We've gone from a routine training flight to this desperate struggle, likely against spatial disorientation, worsening weather, dwindling fuel.
The official explanations, the Navy's own journey from pilot error to cause unknown, and then the explosion of theories from plausible mechanics to, well, aliens and Atlantis.
I think the most evidence-based view points towards that tragic combination. Elliot Taylor getting severely disoriented, perhaps due to a combination of factors including maybe an initial instrument issue he over-relied on confirming, compounded by the awful weather that moved in and the limitations of 1945 navigation.
Making a fatal series of decisions based on a wrong assumption about his location.
Exactly. And the loss of the Mariner, while devastating, seems much more straightforward, a known mechanical flaw leading to an explosion.
Yet, that complete lack of wreckage for Flight 19 is the sticking point, isn't it? That's what keeps the Bermuda Triangle legend alive. The Navy's own cause unknown verdict leaves that door permanently ajar.
It does. It speaks volumes about our fascination with the unexplained, our need for answers when faced with a void. The ocean is vast, and finding wreckage, even large aircraft, after decades, it's incredibly difficult. But the absence feels significant.
It's definitely a powerful reminder, this story. Limits of perception, the power of nature, the allure of a mystery we can't quite solve.
So for everyone listening, what stands out most to you? Did the conventional explanations satisfy you, or are there aspects that still make you question?
We really encourage you to dig into the sources yourself. The Navy reports are out there, Kush's work, the different analyses, form your own conclusions.
And maybe a final thought to chew on. How much does our inherent desire for a neat, tidy answer shape how we interpret events like this? Does a lack of physical proof have to mean something extraordinary happened?
Or does it sometimes just reflect the immense, indifferent reality of the world where sometimes things are just lost and we may never know the full story? A humbling thought, really.
Indeed, a truly enduring historical puzzle.